Hello, welcome and thank you for joining this Cropster keynote presentation. Today's topic, Cropster LAB. Cropster LAB is for anyone who is working in the green coffee trading business in a wider context. Whether you are an importing business in coffee consuming countries, receiving a lot of samples and buying a lot of green coffees to offer them to roasteries, or if you are a coffee producing business or an exporting business at origin, Cropster LAB is a fantastic solution to make your life easier, the management of samples, the evaluation of quality, and it will also empower your team and streamline your processes. Cropster LAB has a clear coffee and specialty coffee focus in that all its processes are based on feedback of our customers and of people in and out of the coffee business, so that it creates new efficiencies in your business. With Cropster, you have a very strong partner with lots of experience. Cropster has been working in the specialty coffee business for 15 years now, 5 years in research and 10 years as Cropster, the business, where we worked with basically pretty much everyone in the coffee supply chain, including producers, research organizations, importers, exporters, and most famously with roasting businesses. Today, we cater our solutions to customers in 85 countries where roasteries and the many other businesses use our tools in their everyday life, and they use it so reliably as a production tool. We have 3 locations. Our headquarters are here in Innsbruck, Austria, from where I give this presentation, where all the development of the software and many other things are happening. But we also have an office in Sacramento, California, and another office in Hong Kong, Greater China region, to be able to not only to cater to those large and important markets, but most importantly to be able to for you to have a partner in the time zone when you would like to reach out to us in sales, or if you have a question for us in support or any other request. This is at the heart of our offering, that we as your partner are not just a pure software provider, but we are a service provider in that we are always there for you. We want to listen to your feedback. We have abilities to customize solutions to you, and always have an open ear for when you have a question or when you need a dedicated training. But now let's have a look at what Cropster LAB actually is. So first and foremost, it is a multi-user software. That means that basically you can design your own roles within Cropster LAB, and each role with its own responsibilities, whether you have people simply being involved in the cupping process, whether you have lab managers, screen buyers, roasters, and people at management level. You can create your own work environments there to the extent that you can make sure that everybody uses our solution to its highest efficiency, and can remain focused on where everyone should be engaged in. Cropster LAB eventually and technically is a backbone system. A backbone system means it is your personal account with where you manage, like I said, your roles and your users to whatever extent you would like. It is an online system that you can access from anywhere in the world, and this is a very important point in that it is very secure, it is private, but you can access the information that the many different people in your company create and prepare for you through our software is at any given point accessible. This backbone system is fed with information from other connected apps. Like with any software is only as useful as the information that is coming in and how it is presented. The presentation part is taken care of by the backbone system, referred to as Caesar, but the gathering information is actually the crucial point where you want to avoid double data entry. You want to avoid people having to do clunky tasks. Our different apps that we have connected to feed into that system include a cupping app to replace basically the cupping sheet for your evaluation panel. It includes roasting software to be able to cover the sample roasting or roasting process in generally very efficiently, as well as other apps and individual integrations that we have built with other systems, whether this be an ERP system or smart new technology like Ikaba roasters. Now, what can you do with Cropster LAB? Well, first and foremost, we have acknowledged that any green coffee trading business is facing samples in large quantities. And while this is a laborious process to register and manage samples, it is equally important, simply because samples not only represent the value proposition of the coffees that you're offering to your buyers, but they also represent the traceability and the basic information upon which you make often very costly buying decisions yourself, which come with a financial and even with a reputational risk. With Cropster, we make this as smooth and efficient as possible for you, so that no matter if you manage 1 or 1,000 samples, you can import them in a breeze through our bulk functions or scanning functions. And from there, you simply enrich the information. There is no need to enter and re-enter sample information. You basically enrich on top of those entities. Secondly, Cropster LAB is your reliable tool to evaluate coffee quality of no matter what your standards, needs, and requirements are. Everything regarding quality in Cropster is very integrated. If you track a cupping through our mobile app, it will directly be synchronized with the samples that are involved in a session. It will provide you automatically with information about the evaluators, give you comparison tools, which we will take a look at in a minute. So this basically replaces the sheet of paper from the cupping table and automatically, without any further ado, gives you much more information and comparability of what you want to make a decision on, granting you lots of customization options, no matter which cupping sheet you would like to use, which session type you would like to set up, etc., and so forth. And thirdly, as we introduce those tools, we automatically help you to streamline your lab and your buying process as a whole. Costs and time associated with sample entry and re-entry, cupping session planning, data consolidation, bringing together information from cupping sessions, all this will be a thing of the past. And the result will be very simple, that the people in your team can focus on the coffee, on building up relationship, both with buyers and sellers, as opposed to having to bring data points together. This is something that we take care of with Cropster LAB. Generally, a technical overview. How is Cropster set up? Like I said, represented on top is the backbone system where you can manage different roles, such as lab manager, coffee buyers, cuppers, but of course also people from the management board. And at the bottom on the slide, we have a representation of a few applications that bring in this information into your backbone system and automatically integrate it with your business processes. This includes, from left to right, our roasting software, Roasting Intelligence, which is most famously known from production roasting context, but we have also built out a specific solution for labs to be able to cover multi-barrel sample roaster information, so that you can rely on a solid sample roasting basis. Secondly, Cropster Cup, our cupping app that works basically on any mobile device, and like I said, gets the cupping sheet into the pockets of your evaluators. And no matter which type of session you would like to do, no matter when you want to do it, who you want to do it with, it will automatically tie to the further business processes, to the coffees that you manage, to the roasts that you manage, to the people that are working in your team. And then there's two further individual solutions that we have been working on. One is the integration with Ikaba roasters, a very popular and innovative tool that can be found in many green coffee trading businesses nowadays. And it's just one of those examples where we offer customized solutions. So instead of tying our roasting software to the Ikaba roaster, we basically take their roast profiling tool, and through our API, our ability to integrate with other software, we connect that with the samples that live in your Cropster account, so that you can perform roasts on your Ikaba roaster in this example, and then perform an analysis on top of that, and you have the data together again. And most importantly, in your businesses, usually what we see is that you will be working with some sort of ERP or other backbone system yourself to handle warehousing, sales, accounting, contacts, logistics of whatever kind. And we acknowledge that you're using those tools, and like I said, through our API, we have the possibility to build custom integrations to those systems, because our main promise remains that you are not facing double data entry, so that when you have a set of data already created in your ERP system, like for example, samples or contracts, we can together build out a synchronization pattern so that you receive specific information from the ERP system in Cropster, from where you can perform quality analysis on top and then synchronize the information back, just to mention one example. Generally speaking, our solutions are built out towards and against and for the life cycle of a coffee in a green coffee trading business. On this screen, we have kind of like the stereotype life cycle of a sample in a green coffee business. From the moment when you receive a sample, you will have to register it in one way or another. And like I said, with Cropster, you can do this through mobile scans or through bulk importation, and start from there, where you build up the story of the coffee. And then as we move further in this graph, you might or might not want to perform a green grading, which we'll take a look at in further detail, all of which is customizable and optional. You will have to, at some point, to roast samples, and we will take a look at our roasting solution for that, so that you are able to create a calibrated cupping base, which is a very important baseline for you to take decisions on top of the quality analysis that you perform. Which brings me to the next step, the cupping process itself. We will take a look at how you can create sessions and what options you have there, pretty much any, and to give you maximum flexibility with the efficiency at the same time, to have all this information that you create there very integrated for you then to be able to review the results that are coming in, benchmark different aspects of the coffees that you're managing, or the people that you're managing for that matter, and then make a smart decision in green coffee buying and or selling on. Let's start with the creation of the samples. Like I said, it can be a laborious process. With Cropster, it's very simple. On this screen, you have an exemplary overview of samples in an account, and you already see different data points, and the data points can pretty much be anything that you would like to manage around the coffees. It can be anything around what we would call general information, like the name, prices, location, type of the sample or of the coffee, but it can also include any type of traceability information, whether this be simply the country or down to the very farm level. It's up to you. You can decide and manage that. And then, of course, most importantly, grading and quality information to any extent, whether you simply care about quality scores, or if you want to go down into the very categories that have been evaluated, or descriptors, or international green coffee grades. It's up to you. You can create this information upon bulk import, or edit it or enrich it at any point thereafter very efficiently. Of course, at any given point, you might want to know details about your samples. And Cropster provides you with many different access points to go from the bulk overview to get the big picture into individual coffees or compare individual coffees. On the screen, exemplary one sample, which you might want to pull that information when you want to offer a specific a coffee with a specific flavor or specific attributes to one of your important buyers. Then you can dig in and see, okay, it's an 82, 83 coffee with specific flavor attributes that this customer might like. At the same point, the negative side of the medal, you might receive a claim at one point, customer not happy with the promise versus delivery, which can sometimes happen in that they might be disappointed of how the coffee tastes or whatever. With this information, you can export or present or show transparently that you have done your due diligence, you have done this analysis, and that in this scenario, this is what the coffee's potential is. And because of the nature, because of the integrated nature of Cropster, the information, anything that you create is always for you traceable at any given point. On the screen is just one example where you see a pre-shipment and an arrival sample with their individual analysis, both green and sensorial. And you see that there are discrepancies both in flavors and in scoring. For you to understand in the buying process, when you make those important and admittedly costly decisions, that you can track and know and understand at any given point in time if there has been a discrepancy in the quality that you are expecting from that coffee. And those discrepancies, because coffee is so complex, they will arise naturally, but you want to know about them and you want to eradicate them as soon as possible in the buying process. And Cropster provides many different entry points for this information. Now let's take a little bit of a look at quality and what I kind of like headlined under quality insurance, because that's literally what it is. Your quality assessment process in your business is your insurance, your foundation to make sure you do not make a decision that might cost you a lot of money or might not be to the taste of your customers, or that might bring reputational risk with it. That is the reason why we do quality insurance. And now let's look a little bit at the details there. Like I said, you may or may not want to perform green grading analysis or physical analysis of the coffee. If you want so, there it is. We have different default options in the software that you can use, different forms, starting with the SCA green grading form, but it can go into any detail. Also, if you're also using Robusta coffees, everything is covered there. And whatever you would like to do, and that's pretty true for a Cropster in general, you can do individual analysis, or analysis in bulk can be much faster and save time for your team. Simple things like dynamic defect definition, when you count the number of beans and it's then being translated automatically in what that means in official defect count. Green grading includes also other parameters that are getting increasing importance in the industry, like moisture and water activity, of course, densities and color and smell and etc. All this is covered and can not only be measured once, it can also be controlled over time, since moisture and water activity are factors that change over time and might also affect the longevity of your coffees. Sample roasting on this screen represented is our Roasting Intelligence RI4, showing an exemplary graph. But as you are working with samples, you might or might not have a sample roaster with multiple barrels, which is something we built a specific solution to, so that you can track roasts from up to 4 barrels per roaster at the same time. And what this means is that your sample roasting or lab person doesn't have to change their workflows when they adopt Cropster. Basically, they hit record, but the result is that they can, at any given point in time, go back and rely on the peace of mind that they have a consistent sample roasting base, which, after all, is what the evaluation team, the cuppers in your team will be working with. If that basis is not consistent, there might as well be quality discrepancies on the cupping table. With this, you can, at the click of a button, totally eradicate that error source. Your lab manager has the task or the duty, presumably, to manage cupping sessions, whether those are regular ones or ad hoc when, so I wouldn't want to say spontaneous samples are coming in. With Cropster, the lab manager has all that freedom. You can schedule cupping sessions ahead of time and to the setup that you would like to have, whether it's a blind session, double blind session, or an open cupping, whether you want to use the SCA sheet or a simple, very simple scoring or a custom scoring that you are already using. Within a matter of minutes, we can build this out for you. You can draft your sessions. You have the ability to blind label all the coffees, and not only that, you can print out sample labels, which you can then physically use on the table to, have the table organized and then have a lively discussion afterwards. From there on, of course, you want to make sure that everybody who is has until now been working with cupping sheets has a smooth and easy tool to get the cupping, the evaluation information into the system. Our application Cropster Cup handles that very, very efficiently. Here, symbolized with a SCA sheet that literally resembles the paper form, except that sliders replace the vertical bar that people would mark with a pen. It is a very, very super efficient system that can be adopted to any cupping sheet that you would like to use. And it can cover pretty much anything that you see on an SCA cupping sheet or COE sheet downwards, which means automatic scoring, all the categories like acidity, body, flavors, etc. are of course covered and can be scored against. You can mark and set any descriptor that you would like. There is a preset of the World Coffee Research descriptors in there, but you might as well create your own lexicon, which can then again by the lab manager be reviewed, and so over time you create your own cupping language and streamline your team even more. And that's not all: intensities, defects, roast degrees, etc. and so forth. Whatever you would like, we can put that in the pocket of your evaluation team, with the big benefit that any information that they create will then be automatically enriching the samples and the coffees and that you are managing. Again, Robusto forms are available, and like I said, it works pretty much on any iOS and Android device, plus on Kindle Fire. And the result is that with that information, as it comes in from the different people with the different responsibilities, Cropster automatically, without any further ado, brings this together in very, very useful and crisply visualized reports where you can perform different benchmark tasks and make decisions on the many different things that come up in your business. One example, that's the screen I've already shared. You can decide on quality details. If you're looking for a specific coffee that scores between 83, 84 and has a peach flavor and comes from a specific origin, you can very, very easily and simply sort, filter through all your coffees and from a kind of like narrow it down roughly and then perform an individual comparison to find that coffee. Here, a very nice report of ours where you can directly benchmark all the details that you have captured, whether this be the scores, whether this be at the bottom, the colorful bars that you see there, whether this be categories like acidity, body, etc., or further down the individual descriptors. It might as well be any other task that you want to perform with that. You can simply filter the coffees together and then run this analysis and make a decision on individual quality characteristics or traceability information of your coffee. Likewise, and very important, in your team, you want to make sure that people are calibrated and that you can rely on relatively objective decisions. Most prominently, I would say, in the cupping process, there's always people that have different perceptions than others, whether this be in general, or if you have an apprentice that is totally new to the board and that you want to get gradually aligned with the more senior cupping team. Those reports that you see on the screen help you to quickly identify if you have somebody who is an outlier in your cupping team. And here in this examples, it shows different coffees against each other. If I were to click on one of those individual coffees, I could even see how each cupper performs on each individual category, like acidity, body, flavor, etc., so that you can jump in and help the people to get aligned with the rest of the team and make sure that any decision that you make regarding the quality is based on a cupping team that is aligned and has an objective opinion. Like I said, you have in your daily workflows, you will have different situations where you have to simply find coffees, whether this is you want to offer a specific coffee to a specific buyer, or whether you want to work or match up with suppliers of yours, or whether you want to pull them together for a cupping within your team. It doesn't matter. The very simple and easy to use overviews in Cropster give you lots of opportunities to filter through different characteristics, narrow down your search, pick them up from there, so that you can have a discussion afterwards with whoever you would like, and as such, of course, improve the relationships not only in your business but with the buyers and buyers of your coffee and the people that supply you with coffee. And I would say most importantly, and the factor with the biggest weights, but the factor that is hardest to explain in such a presentation, is the value over time. Like I said, there is little that you need to do to get information into the system, as long as you consistently feed it through our efficient tools. But the result that you will be getting over time is astonishing. Imagine you track different samples and different coffees and enrich them with quality information over time, or over the course of many years. You will very, very quickly see patterns of how consistent the coffee supply of your inbound relationships is, or how consistent your cupping base is, how consistent your sample roasting is. All those values, you have them at the screen right there, right in front of you, without having to do anything else. And this will introduce a peace of mind for you in the decision-making process, so that you are at any given time aware of what is going on and where you have to jump in and maybe improve the processes. But we're not only strong in the management of samples itself and quality, etc. We also acknowledge that you, as a green coffee trading business, you sit at the hub between buyers and sellers of green coffee, and as such, you have a responsibility and an opportunity to build up strong relationships. We have recently introduced supply chain sharing mechanisms, so that you can print out very simple and concise but informative QR tags, which is a very prominent way of doing it, you might slide into your sample bag and send it out to your buyers, so that they again can scan the information and import whichever of the coffees they then like into their own Cropster system, or run like an offline report if they are not using Cropster. But what it does is it's basically a value added for you as a green coffee seller at the one hand, so that customers already receive the important information that they care about, and on the other hand, it is a baseline to build stronger relationships, because with that information, of course, you can have a tighter conversation of which coffees they liked and why, etc., and so forth, which has strong impacts on your sourcing processes. Some words to our options for integrations. Like I said, we have acknowledged that you are probably already working with a backbone system yourself, and we provide a very well structured way of building this out together with you. We have a REST API integration that is documented online and accessible, so that we together with your ERP software provider, we can work out a workflow as to which information you would like to live in which system. Taking the example from the beginning, you have a sample in your ERP system, would like to synchronize it to Cropster for analysis, and then take that information back. As an example, we can sketch that out together with you and help you in the implementation process. There are dedicated support packages that you can book, and we want to make sure that you at the end have a reliable solution that avoids double data entry and enriches the information that you would like to have. For anyone directly working with the implementation, we also offer what is called a demo sandbox, which is a separate instance where you can try the integration out before you go live with it. With Cropster, you are supported by a strong partner. Like I said in the beginning, we have offices in Innsbruck, Austria, Central European time zone, Sacramento, California, US West Coast, and Hong Kong. And we ourselves, our team, we offer you support in many different languages. We have very many skilled people here to support you in English, German, Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, and French so far, but not to forget, that is just our core team. We also have sales agents in many different countries in the world, in Brazil, in Italy, in Russia, in Korea, etc., and so forth, where you can receive support and get any question answered, a proposal, a quote, whatever you might need. If you have specific needs for customization, for integration, for support, service layer agreements, whatever this might be, we have premium support packages available that we can work out with you. Everything begins with a conversation regarding your needs, your workflows, which we'll pick up and then define a proposal together with you. And if you're interested, I would like you to contact us using any channel, write to me directly or to sales@cropster.com, and our team in our different offices will pick it up from there. Like I said, everything starts with a conversation. We would like to get to know your workflows, how your team works, and reflect on our software solution, and then see if and to which extent we should be offering customization options for the product itself, for support, or for integration needs. We are very happy to build this out for you. I hope you liked this presentation. I hope you got a good overview of what Cropster LAB is, that it will help you to streamline your lab, manage samples efficiently, get everything into one place regarding the quality of your coffees, and as such empower your team and make them work on where they are best at, so they don't have to think about the data entry and data management. We would like to be your partner. Please contact us, and again, thank you for joining this presentation.